The discovery came without warning. Palace investigators found a bank account that Meghan Markle had kept hidden for years, containing transactions that raised immediate red flags. King Charles and Prince William realized they could no longer protect her. The account revealed something that went beyond simple financial mistakes. And when the full details emerged, they made a decision that would shock the world. The routine audit that changed everything. The finance office at Buckingham Palace operates with centuries of careful precision. Every pound spent by the royal household is documented, tracked, and reviewed. Most years, the annual audit is straightforward and unremarkable. But in early December 2025, something unusual appeared in the numbers. Margaret Hartley, a senior accountant with nearly 20 years in the Royal Finance Office, made the discovery. She knew the patterns. She understood how money moved through various royal households. When she reviewed the Sussex household accounts from before Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, something caught her attention. Small discrepancies, payments that seemed slightly off, expenses that did not match official records of engagements. Another accountant might have dismissed them as clerical errors, but Margaret had learned that small inconsistencies sometimes pointed to larger problems. She spent 3 days reviewing the records carefully. She cross-referenced payment dates with public schedules. She compared invoices with actual events. The more she looked, the more concerned she became. The discrepancies followed a pattern. Money was moving in ways that did not align with standard operations. Margaret brought her findings to Thomas Blackwell, who had managed royal finances through 3 different reigns. When she showed him what she had found, his expression changed. This required immediate escalation. Within hours, the matter reached Sir Clive Alderton, the King's private secretary. He understood that financial irregularities could become catastrophic if mishandled. Any suggestion of improper use would trigger both a media firestorm and parliamentary scrutiny. He ordered a full but quiet investigation. A small team was assembled. Margaret and Thomas from finance, 2 senior legal advisors, and a discreet investigator with experience in financial forensics. They received strict instructions. No leaks. No discussions outside the team. This matter stayed contained. The team worked through December analyzing bank statements, wire transfers, vendor contracts, and expense reports. Hidden in that paperwork was something that should not have been there. Payments flowing to a consulting firm that no one had heard of. The amount seemed excessive for standard public relations work. Sarah Chun, the lead investigator, dug deeper into the consulting firm. Corporate records showed registration in Delaware, known for privacy-friendly business laws. The company had minimal online presence, no website, no social media. Red flags appeared everywhere. When the firm's bank records arrived, they revealed something shocking. The money from the Sussex household did not stay in the firm. It was immediately transferred to an offshore account in the Channel Islands. The investigation team spent Christmas working in total secrecy. They traced money flows across multiple countries. They built timelines showing when money moved and why. What emerged was deeply troubling. The offshore account had been opened in early 2019, shortly after Meghan and Harry's wedding. Money began flowing in almost immediately, hundreds of thousands of pounds over time, enough to raise serious questions. The most disturbing element was the timing. The largest deposits occurred shortly after major royal events, after important family gatherings, after state occasions, after private meetings that later became subjects of media speculation. The correlation was too consistent to ignore. Someone with inside access to royal activities was benefiting financially from that access. Sarah Chun presented her findings to Sir Clive in early January 2026. The hidden offshore account, the pattern of payments, the suspicious timing. While she could not prove illegal activity, the arrangement violated every protocol governing how royal family members handled their finances. Sir Clive asked the question everyone was thinking: who controlled the offshore account? The answer pointed to Meghan Markle. The account had been set up shortly after she joined the royal family. The consulting firm was run by someone with previous connections to her. Sir Clive made the decision that would change everything. King Charles had to be informed immediately. And after the king knew, Prince William would need to know as well. What they had discovered was not just a financial scandal. It was evidence that someone in the royal family had been monetizing their position in ways that violated every principle the institution stood for. The account nobody knew existed. The offshore account sat in a bank in Jersey, one of the Channel Islands that wealthy people around the world use for financial privacy. From the outside, it looked like thousands of other accounts, legitimate, legal, protected by laws designed to shield clients from unwanted attention. But when palace investigators dug into the details, they discovered something far more complex than a simple savings account. The account had been opened in March 2019. The timing was significant. Meghan had been a working member of the royal family for less than a year. She was still learning protocols, still navigating her new role, still building her public image. Yet during this period, someone with connections to her had set up sophisticated financial arrangements that would take investigators months to fully understand. The account was not in Meghan's name. That would have been too obvious. Instead, it was held by a corporate entity registered in the British Virgin Islands. That company was owned by another company registered in Delaware. And that Delaware company was managed by a trust based in Switzerland.
Each layer added distance. Each layer made tracing ownership harder. Each layer provided what lawyers call plausible deniability. But palace investigators had resources and determination. They worked with financial experts who specialized in unraveling complex corporate structures. They obtained court orders that forced banks to reveal information normally kept secret, and slowly they traced the ownership chain back to its source. The beneficial owner, the person who ultimately controlled the account and could access its funds, had direct ties to Meghan Markle. The account structure was sophisticated enough to suggest professional help. Someone had designed this arrangement specifically to hide ownership while maintaining access. Someone had understood exactly how to navigate international banking laws. Someone had known which jurisdictions to use and which corporate structures provided maximum protection. This was not something an ordinary person could set up alone. Money flowed into the account from multiple sources. Some came through the consulting firm that had been billing the Sussex household, but other deposits came from entertainment companies based in Los Angeles, production firms that worked in television and film, media organizations that covered celebrity news. The amounts varied, but they were substantial. £10,000 here, £25,000 there, occasionally £50,000 in a single transaction. What made investigators particularly suspicious was the timing of these deposits. They occurred in clusters with several payments arriving within days of each other, followed by weeks of silence. The clusters often coincided with major royal events or family moments that later became media stories. A large payment arrived 3 days after a private family meeting at Sandringham. Another significant deposit came shortly after a state banquet where Meghan had been photographed with several heads of state. The pattern suggested coordination. Someone was providing information or access, and someone else was paying for it. The entertainment and media companies making deposits were not random. Several had produced content about the royal family. Others had connections to journalists who covered palace news. The web of relationships pointed toward a disturbing possibility. Royal access was being monetized.
The account also showed outgoing transactions. Money did not just sit there accumulating. It was being moved regularly. Some transfers went to accounts in the United States. Others flowed to property investments in California. The spending pattern suggested someone building wealth quietly, diversifying assets across multiple locations and investment types. Palace legal advisors reviewed the evidence carefully. They understood that proving wrongdoing would be difficult. Offshore accounts are legal. Receiving payments is legal. Even having complex corporate structures is legal. But the totality of the arrangement violated royal protocols completely. Members of the royal family are not supposed to profit from their positions. They are not supposed to monetize access to family members or inside information. They are not supposed to hide financial arrangements from palace officials. Sir Clive Alderton looked at the evidence spread across his desk. Bank statements, corporate documents, transaction records. The account nobody knew existed had revealed a secret world that threatened everything the monarchy claimed to represent. Prince William learned about the discovery on a cold January morning at Kensington Palace. Sir Clive Alderton arrived without warning, carrying a leather briefcase that held documents William was not prepared to see. The meeting was scheduled as a routine briefing, but William knew immediately from Sir Clive's expression that something serious had happened. Sir Clive laid out the evidence methodically. The hidden offshore account, the suspicious timing of payments, the corporate structures designed to obscure ownership, the connections back to Meghan. William listened in silence, his jaw tightening with each new revelation. He had suspected for years that Meghan's motives were not what they appeared to be, but this exceeded even his worst assumptions. William had never trusted Meghan completely. From the beginning, something about her felt calculated. The way she performed for cameras, the way she positioned herself in photographs, the way she seemed to understand media manipulation better than people who had been born into royal life. He had tried to warn Harry before the wedding. He had suggested a longer engagement, more time to truly know each other. Harry had responded with anger, accusing William of jealousy and prejudice. That conversation had damaged their relationship in ways that never fully healed. Harry chose Meghan over family counsel. He chose love, or what he believed was love, over the caution that William offered. And William had stepped back, hoping he was wrong, hoping that time would prove his concerns unfounded. Now sitting across from Sir Clive with evidence of financial impropriety spread before him, William felt a bitter vindication he did not want. The evidence suggested that Meghan had been monetizing her royal position from almost the moment she gained it. She had built a secret financial structure while smiling for cameras and speaking about service. She had accepted payments from entertainment companies while attending state functions. She had turned access to the royal family into a commodity. And she had done it all while Harry remained apparently unaware. William asked Sir Clive the difficult questions. Was Harry involved? Did he know about the account? The investigation had found no evidence of Harry's participation. His name appeared nowhere in the corporate structures. No payments flowed to accounts he controlled. He seemed genuinely ignorant of what his wife had been doing. That made the situation even more painful. Harry had sacrificed his relationship with family to protect Meghan, not knowing she was betraying the institution he had been born into. William wanted to confront Meghan immediately. He wanted to demand answers, to force her to explain herself. But Sir Clive counseled patience. They needed to inform King Charles first. This decision could not be made by William alone. Regardless of how he felt personally, the king had to understand the full scope of what had been discovered. William agreed, though anger burned in his chest. He thought about all the family gatherings where Meghan had sat across from him, smiling and making conversation. He thought about the christenings, weddings, and formal events where she had played the role of devoted duchess. All of it had been a performance. All of it had been cover for something darker. He also thought about Harry, his brother, the person he had protected throughout childhood, the person he had stood beside through their mother's death, and the painful years that followed. Harry was about to learn that his wife had been using their family for financial gain. Harry was about to face a truth that would destroy him. William made a decision. Before the king was informed, before any official action was taken, he needed to speak with his father privately, not as Prince of Wales to king, but as son to father. Because what came next would tear the family apart in ways they might never recover from. Harry chose Meghan over family counsel. He chose love, or what he believed was love, over the caution that William offered. And William had stepped back, hoping he was wrong, hoping that time would prove his concerns unfounded. Now sitting across from Sir Clive with evidence of financial impropriety spread before him, William felt a bitter vindication he did not want. The evidence suggested that Meghan had been monetizing her royal position from almost the moment she gained it. She had built a secret financial structure while smiling for cameras and speaking about service. She had accepted payments from entertainment companies while attending state functions. She had turned access to the royal family into a commodity. And she had done it all while Harry remained apparently unaware. William asked Sir Clive the difficult questions. Was Harry involved? Did he know about the account? The investigation had found no evidence of Harry's participation. His name appeared nowhere in the corporate structures. No payments flowed to accounts he controlled. He seemed genuinely ignorant of what his wife had been doing. That made the situation even more painful. Harry had sacrificed his relationship with family to protect Meghan, not knowing she was betraying the institution he had been born into. William wanted to confront Meghan immediately. He wanted to demand answers, to force her to explain herself. But Sir Clive counseled patience. They needed to inform King Charles first. This decision could not be made by William alone. Regardless of how he felt personally, the king had to understand the full scope of what had been discovered. William agreed, though anger burned in his chest. He thought about all the family gatherings where Meghan had sat across from him, smiling and making conversation. He thought about the christenings, weddings, and formal events where she had played the role of devoted duchess. All of it had been a performance. All of it had been cover for something darker. He also thought about Harry, his brother, the person he had protected throughout childhood, the person he had stood beside through their mother's death, and the painful years that followed. Harry was about to learn that his wife had been using their family for financial gain. Harry was about to face a truth that would destroy him. William made a decision. Before the king was informed, before any official action was taken, he needed to speak with his father privately, not as Prince of Wales to king, but as son to father. Because what came next would tear the family apart in ways they might never recover from. The next payment was a deposit of £15,000 from a British tabloid's parent company, arriving just days after a private family dinner at Windsor Castle. That same week, the tabloid published an exclusive story about tensions between Meghan and Catherine, containing details that only someone present at the dinner could have known. The timing was too precise to be coincidental. Another significant payment arrived in June 2019, £35,000 from an American public relations firm. 2 weeks later, several positive profiles of Meghan appeared in major magazines, all using similar language and focusing on identical talking points. The articles praised her modernizing influence on the monarchy and her commitment to progressive causes. The coordination suggested a paid campaign rather than organic coverage. The investigators found payments connected to specific royal events. £5,000 arrived the day after Meghan attended a state banquet with visiting dignitaries. The payment came from a company that published celebrity gossip online. That company soon after released detailed information about private conversations at the banquet, including who sat where and what was discussed. Information that should have remained confidential. Perhaps most disturbing were payments linked to family photographs. The royal family took private photos at christenings, weddings, and holiday gatherings. These images were personal, meant only for family members. Yet several ended up published in magazines or appearing on websites. Each time a private photo leaked, investigators found a payment into Meghan's account within days. The amounts ranged from £10,000 to £25,000, depending on the exclusivity of the image. The outgoing transactions told another story. Money leaving the account flowed primarily to American investments, real estate purchases in California, stock portfolios managed by firms in New York, and business investments in entertainment ventures. Meghan was building a financial foundation separate from Harry, separate from the royal family, using money that appeared to come from monetizing her position. One transaction particularly caught investigators' attention. A payment of £50,000 went to a legal firm in Los Angeles. The date of that payment coincided exactly with the period when Meghan and Harry were negotiating their exit from royal duties. The legal firm specialized in entertainment contracts and media rights. It appeared Meghan was planning her departure while still actively working as a royal, using money obtained through questionable means to fund her exit strategy. The money trail painted a clear picture. Meghan had systematically monetized access, information, and influence from the moment she entered the royal family. She had built a hidden financial empire while performing the role of devoted duchess, and she had done it with a sophistication that suggested careful planning rather than opportunistic mistakes.